Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Real Estate. It's that simple. My name is Rick Garcia, and I'm also with the prodigious realtor, Mr. Phil Nordello, ladies and gentlemen. No, please don't get up.
Now I
Hey, Phil,
have
how
to
are
look
you?
up prodigious. Hang on a second. Let me Google it to see if you actually said something nice about me or not.
I said something nice about you.
Oh.
Listen, we want to remind everybody we're doing the home show again as we continue to practice our social distancing. We see light at the end of the tunnel as areas start to open up little by little. And so don't be shocked if you hear maybe a dog bark in the background or a lawnmower or, in the case of Phil's house, maybe a helicopter in pursuit.
Yes, exactly right. Yep. I'm in witness protection still. So,
Do you have any big plans this weekend, buddy?
I actually, you know what? I mean, am I allowed to say that I've got the family coming over? We're going to social distance, I guess, and hang out in the pool. You know,
okay.
which is perfect, and that's what we're doing.
That's been the hardest part about. Go ahead.
You know, I will tell you that I'm concerned here because we have a granddaughter, and she's adorable, right?
Yes.
And she's a handful. And it's like, you know, the whole stereotypical thing of the elderly grandparents and the daughter, the granddaughter that's got all this energy. And so far, we've babysat her one time, and for a few hours, and it was long. Okay, the 3 hours that we babysat her, it was very long. However, my lovely wife.
By the way,
agreed.
Welcome to your wife Judy's world. You were not there to witness that, were you? You were busy working and doing your part for the family, but you know, moms are rolling their eyes right now. They know all about that.
Well, I just found out that she agreed to take her, I should say, which is awesome. More than 3 hours. She decided to take her for 4 days.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, in June, 4 days. Thursday,
How
Friday,
old is your granddaughter?
Saturday, Sunday. She's 2.5. And like I said,
goodness.
she's adorable, but when she's awake, she is like a whirling dervish. And that's cool. However, you know, when they ask, it's like, okay, can you watch her for 4 days? And it's like, okay, Thursday and Friday. So Judy has to take off Thursday and Friday, which is $800 worth of income. Do you ask and say, are you going to make up that money? Because she has to take the time off, because there's no way that I can watch her. You know what I mean?
Now here's the interesting thing about that is 2.5. It's sort of that catch-22 area. Okay, you at 2.5, they're usually still napping. That nap is a lifesaver because Grandpa can take a nap with granddaughter. I remember doing it with my kids. You put on the favorite cartoon on TV, and little by little, you start to doze off together, and it's a beautiful moment. Okay, so that's the good news. The bad news is they don't sleep through the night. Or they wake up, early. Now I know you're an early riser, so maybe it doesn't affect you as much. But then you start, then you realize, in order to get your kids to sleep through the night, you got to do away with the nap.
Yeah.
So the good news is you get more rest at night, but the bad news is you're like one of the characters in Walking Dead during the day.
And the nice thing is, though, I'm not concerned about the sleep because, honestly, I woke up at 2:30 this morning, and I've been up ever since. And that's a sickness that I have. I can fall asleep like that. It's not a problem. I just can't stay asleep. And usually it's on average 3:30, which is fine. But because I'm older, and when you're older, you'll know this when you get older, Rick, that when you don't need as much sleep. And I get that, and I fall asleep at 9:30, and I wake up at 3:30, and that's it, done. But I woke up at 2:30 this morning, and I'm tired. What can you do? But I'm excited about it, because you know what? We've got the pool, we've got all these things. We've got the puppy, we've got play toys, and we've got all sorts of things. The problem is she wants me to get on the floor with her and play, and I'm okay with that. I can get down, no problem. It's getting back up.
Yeah.
that's a challenge.
Well, I'm going to send you a Life Alert necklace so that you so that you can press the button when you fall in and you can't get up.
That's perfect.
All right, you probably don't know by listening, but the name of the show is Real Estate. It's that simple. I'm Rick Garcia. He's Phil Nordella. What do you say we look at the numbers, Phil?
SCV by the numbers.
Yay!
All right. Hey, you know what? It's interesting what's happening. Active listings, okay? Now, when we talk about Santa Clarita Valley, you just have to understand exactly how we break it down. What is Santa Clarita? Santa Clarita is Valencia, Saugus, Stevenson Ranch, Castaic, Newhall, Canyon Country, Acton, and Agua Dulce. There's always the major 8, right? And so right now, for the last 7 days before, we had 438 listings. We've actually gone up, which I had mentioned before, that we should probably start going up in listings, and I'll explain that in a second. Active under contract and pending. 2 weeks ago, for those 7-day period, we had 73. We've gone up to 79, which is good, okay, because we're selling more. The nice thing is over the last week, 2 weeks ago, we had 21 closings, which was low, and that scared me a little bit, okay? But over the last 7 days, we've had 38 closings, which is a good thing. New listings, again, 2 weeks ago for the 7-day period, we had 58, and we've got 65 now. So what's happening, and we haven't really seen it yet because these numbers are not that big a deal. What's going to happen, though, I think, is we are going to start getting more listings than right now. We have 448. Well, you know what? 6 weeks ago, we had in the 300s, okay? So these are going to start going up. As this goes up, we're going to have more listings and fewer buyers because of the fact that the coronavirus has put everybody on furlough, or they decided to not make their payments for some reason, thinking that that wasn't going to affect them. And it is going to affect them, obviously, when it comes to getting a new loan. And so the buyers will drop a little bit. And because we've got so many people that are either canceled or on hold, that's going to start flooding the market a little bit. And I truly believe that what will happen is our active listings will go from 400 to 500 to 600, and I think that's going to have some kind of a small correction in the market. Now, there's a method to my madness in telling you this, and that is if you're thinking of doing something, do it now. Because in 6 months, if our 400 listings go to 800 listings, now what's going to happen is we're going to switch from a seller's market to more of a buyer's market, because there'll be fewer buyers because it's going to be harder to get loans. And you have more listings, which means people will actually be lowering their price to actually get the few buyers that are out there. Right now, one of the things that we've got is when they've actually had price reductions over the last week, 10% of our actually active listings have had price reductions. And that just means that, you know what, they've been put on the market, they talk to their realtor, and they say, look, we haven't had anything, what's going on? You know, maybe we should lower the price. And so that's indicative of what's happening a little bit. So, again, the moral of the story is, if you're thinking of listing, call 661-312-3561. Okay?
Excellent. You know, I think people, one of the things they fail to think about when they're putting their home on the market, and they've got a price in their head. This is what I'd like to sell it for. This is what I'd like to net out of the deal. A lot of times people don't remember that during the escrow process, there's going to be an inspection of your property. And when your home is inspected, you know, very often the buyer's going to come up with a list of things that they would like to see taken care of. So we want to talk about home inspections. We thought it would be great to have Annette Matthews, who's the owner of Castle Real Estate Inspection Services, on with us. She also happens to be a veteran of the radio business, so she's a big fan of the power of communication. Annette, welcome to Real Estate It's That Simple.
Well, good morning.
Hey, how are you?
I am well, thank you. I do want to add a moment about your child care. But child care is basically an exercise in the mastering of time management, and the secret to life in taking care of the little ones is understanding that their attention is 10 to 15 minutes. So you need to schedule on a 24-hour basis 30 to 40 activities a day, of which any real estate person can do that because they are familiar with the multifaceted jobs that we all hold. But
you know the fun thing about McKenna and I? She realizes that I'm one big play toy, and I actually look at her the same way. We play with each other, and that's just fun. I mean, it's like we've got so many things to do, and she pushes her little lawnmower with the bubbles that come out, and we go in the pool, and we do. Oh, it's an absolute blast, and I can't wait for it.
Let me add to that, though, Annette, that for the folks that may be listening for the first time, that Phil is a father of 3 boys. And I was lucky enough to have both the boys and girls, and boy, it's such a different connection, and it's really, really neat, Phil, that you get to have now that connection with a little girl like that. You will, as much as you try not to be, you will be different with them. You will be very protective. You will have a much different connection with her.
It's so fun. Hey, Annette, listen, I just wanted to thank you, by the way, for stepping up. We had an emergency inspection, and you cleared the slate for us and did one, and for us, it was a condo in Valencia here, and I do appreciate that.
Oh, you're very welcome. That's kind of the idea, is to be able to, again, time management, always have the opportunity to move a few things aside and take those inspections that come up, because, again, keeping your escrow rolling, keeping things in motion, that's the secret to, again, being successful in this business.
Annette Matthews is the owner of Castle Real Estate Inspection Services. Annette, how has the coronavirus pandemic affected the home inspection industry?
Well, initially it pretty much shut it down, and then the reality of the importance and the necessity of doing a physical inspection. And NACHI, which is the National Association of Certified Home Inspectors, what they did is came up with pretty much a one-day program, but inspectors were invited to take a course, understand protocol, certify themselves, write an essay, take a 100 question test, and at the end of it, you ask yourself, okay, now I'm COVID certified, which I am, and I carry my little certificate. But most importantly, when you actually would get to a job, it put in place the steps necessary to follow protocol, and yet, again, still work within the parameters of keeping the escrow rolling. Do the physical inspection, get a report, because sometimes people they hadn't been in the house. So you were trying to explain things to them that they had no idea of the dimension or perspective, and it was, again, an exercise in communication, but nonetheless important and necessary to keep moving and keep
Sure.
the loan, keep the place, keep the buyer happy, keep the seller happy, and yet still offer the transparency that is so critical to the end result, which is making somebody happy in their new home.
You know what, I found it was so funny that as soon as this hit and everybody was supposed to be quarantined, and they were saying that the real estate was an essential service, and I thought, at first I was thinking, should it be? I was scared. I thought, what, that's probably not a good idea. I think it's going to be something that is going to be dangerous. But then everybody kept coming out and saying, no, it can be virtual. Everything can be virtual. And I started to break that down. I'm like, everything can be virtual. Okay, I actually get it. Even with an appraisal, fine, I guess, and they've been doing drive-by appraisals, which cracks me up, because if the appraisal doesn't come in, it's like maybe that's because you didn't go inside the house to see that they've got $100,000 worth of upgrades. However, I get that. They can do that. But let's see, Annette, do you think that you could do a drive-by physical inspection?
Well, that's kind of the issue, is that at some point you're going to need a physical person. And again, you need to be dressed properly. But you still follow the same routine. You follow the protocol. You fairly and objectively identify. And that's what's important, because you look at beautiful houses. It looks great. You can imagine yourself living in there. And then the furnace is upside down, literally installed upside down. You open up the dishwasher, and it's never been connected. It filled a hole, but they never plumbed it. There's no electrical to it, and it's a storage rack, basically. Things like that it can happen with new construction, and it can happen with something that is 40, 50, 60 years old. And those are the surprises that you just don't want to have walking in to your brand new house.
Absolutely. It's funny because also sometimes you'll have buyers, and the house will be fairly new, right? And so they'll say, do I really need to spend the money? I sold a house in Corona Del Mar, and a gorgeous house, $3.5 million. And they just finished the house, and they went through the walkthrough when it came to the contractor and everything. And it was like, do we need a physical inspection? I said, you know what, we do, no matter what we do. There was more things wrong with that house, even though it was finished, right, and it would actually been signed off on by the contractor, that there was more things on that than something that would have been 50 years old. And I found that was interesting, and so I'm so glad that we actually did a physical inspection on that house. It was important.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes, and again, it can be things that are minor, and yet it again can be major issues, and you never know. And things that come out afterwards are things like, yes, we built the house, but we never lived in it, so we don't have any disclosure. We don't know of anything wrong. Well, your tenants lived in it for 4 or 5 years, and they certainly put their mark on things. That's kind of the reason, no matter what, you do an inspection. And with all the protocol followed and everything, you shouldn't harm anything and shouldn't be dangerous to anybody involved. Again, respecting space, respecting number of people in the property, respecting wearing your gloves and your mask and everything else. So it's just part of the 21st century, and every step we take, we are finding new and interesting things to cope with.
Real Estate, It's That Simple is the name of the show. I'm Rick Garcia. Phil Nordella also here, and we have Annette Matthews, owner of Castle Real Estate Inspection Services. And, Annette, for me, I remember the first time, coming across having to deal with an inspection. I had some investment properties, and the words subject to are always important in real estate, subject to an inspection. And that just means that, if you're sitting in your house and somebody's going to come in, hopefully it's an independent person who's going to go through a list of things that maybe require being replaced, repaired, or suggestions. And I remember the first time being offended by that. I think a lot of buyers can become offended by the inspection report, and they don't have to be. I mean, there's no reason to be. I think that you have to just remember that, A, if something has to be fixed, well, you should have fixed it anyway while you were living in the home. And otherwise, a lot of it are suggestions and can be negotiated with the buyer, from the seller to the buyer. Have you ever found anybody got mad at you because you found there was something wrong with the house, and you said, hey, what can I tell you? There's something wrong with the house. Adversity
is part of the business, and being fart the messenger, the bearer of bad news, is what, as an inspector, and again, in your training, you learn this, that you're not there to compliment somebody on their new house. You're there to compliment them on their accomplishment, or the fact that they have done a lot of saving to purchase a house. But that is beside the point. The actual physical inspection is basically a highlight of negative issues. But being able to identify, prioritize, and deliver the information clearly, that's the secret. And most of the time, other than perhaps a slight resentment here and there, or people saying, well, gee, it never really bothered me, because that's usually the seller's response. This doesn't bother me. I don't use the heat very much. What does it matter if the furnace is upside down? It still works. But 5 years later, you die of carbon dioxide poisoning or something. I mean, it's things like that. Or the people say, I never use the dishwasher. Why, you want to hook it up, go right ahead. But what people are not taking into account is that by the time you plumb and drain and put electrical in it, you're talking, now your $300 dishwasher costs you, $2,500. And those are things that matter to the buyer. And again, being fair to the seller and saying, I understand that this was a non-issue to you. However, in the transaction of this property, perhaps it is a good idea that, you are assuring your buyers that everything is legitimate and up to what we would consider a current standard.
Right.
And again, offering a voice of reason, very few people will kick you for it.
Here's the situation when it comes to, I've been using it for years, and I've used others, right? I've been doing this for my 28th year. I've used others. And this is the reason why I like Annette the most, is because, number one, I make sure no matter what that I'm there with the actual buyers, and the buyers are there also. They have to be both the husband and the wife. It's extremely crucial because of the fact that when she finds something, and this is what she excels at, she finds something, she explains it. She lets them know exactly what it is and what it's going to be to remedy it. If they're not there and you just have a physical inspector write up a report, and there's usually on average, and I tell every buyer this, there's usually about 18 things that are wrong with every house. I don't care what year it is. It's weird what year it's built. There's 18 things wrong. And if they see that, they go, oh, my God. But if they actually went through it with her, and again, she's so good, she's so gentle, she's so smart, she explains everything. She says, this is not a big deal. It's going to sound like it is, but it's not, because all they really have to do is this. It makes it so much nicer when we do a request for repairs. And I do thank you, Annette, for that, because that's an art. And you're very, very good at it. And I recommend that anybody is thinking of even selling, they may even want to do one up front, to see just exactly what they're going to find, when it comes to the buyers doing their physical.
Yes, there are times, and again, depending on, sometimes it's very, very people who have been in a home for many, many years, and they are transitioning, they're selling their property. It's a wonderful thing, because instead of an abrupt blast of information of, everything in the house is 30 years old, you're able to say, prior to listing or dealing with buyers, perhaps a few upgrades would really improve the appearance and what people feel, again, is current standard. And changing a few things out, it's not a lot of money, but it makes such a huge difference in the comfort zone of people feeling, again, that they're in the 21st century and they're not buying, a house that really did belong to great grandma.
Yeah.
And again, you just that's why, again, sometimes your gloves are plastic, sometimes they are leather, but no matter what, they should be made out of the softest silk possible, so that you're handling things with gloves at all times.
All right, Annette, how do folks get in touch with you if they want to schedule an inspection?
I am so easy to get a hold of. I have a website. Click on the website. It gives you a form to fill out if you wish. You can call me. You can text me. You can send me an email. I am very, very available. I'm accessible. I do respond to every request that I get. And most importantly, I look forward to them, because to me, every house is a new adventure.
What is your web address? How do we, the site again? One more time?
It is www.castleinspection.com.
CastleInspection.com. Perfect. Annette Matthews, owner of Castle Real Estate Inspection Services. Thanks so much for being on Real Estate It's That Simple. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Annette.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
the best.
you so much. Take care.
Coming up,
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Coming up, iBuyers. Who are they? What are they all about? You want to sell your home fast? We'll give you cash. You can do it in 6 or 7 days. We're going to tell you what it all means and where it all stands right now when we come back.
If you're thinking of selling your home, have Phil Nordella come out and give you a free, no obligation property valuation. Just call 661-312-3561. It's that simple.
Castle Inspection is the top choice for home inspection in Santa Clarita. With over 20 years experience, make Castle Inspection your choice when buying your new condominium or home. From mobile homes to mansions, the outhouse to the penthouse, your best bet is Annette from Castle Inspection. An inspection is a fair and objective evaluation of the home's physical and mechanical systems. Expert knowledge, thorough research, and clear communication are what sets Annette at Castle above the rest. Schedule your appointment online now at castleinspection.com.
Genghis Khan Mongolian Barbecue and Chinese Buffet. Healthy vegetables and lean meats. A low-carb treat. Create your own bowls with our delicious meats and always fresh vegetables. Then, blend in your own secret sauce. Feast at the all-you-can-eat buffet and barbecue for the same low price. A local favorite for over 25 years, Genghis Khan is still located on Lyons Avenue just east of the I-5. Enter between the Chevron and Shell gas stations. Come and see us soon at Genghis Khan.
If you're looking for an SUV-based home design firm you can trust, look no further. Style My Space is a recognized leader in luxury vacant home staging and interior design projects for all of northern Los Angeles County since 2006. Their 5-star reputation for beautiful staging installations helps sellers realize up to 10% higher offers in as little as 1/3 the time as non-staged homes. Get an instant quote on our website at stylemyspace.com. That's stylemyspace.com.
The coronavirus has put us in a position of creating a new normal. Family Law at Home understands. Their goal is to meet you in the safest place possible, and these days that might be in your own home in a virtual meeting. Family Law at Home will provide you with immediate advice on your family law matters, such as divorce cases, child custody disputes, and domestic violence. It's as easy as going to FamilyLawAtHome.com. You'll choose your own consultation date and be in immediate contact with one of their esteemed attorneys. Family Law at Home handles the legal aspect while you and your family navigate the new chapter in your lives. Go to FamilyLawAtHome.com.
Take the stress out of moving. Affordable Quality Moving and Storage has been owned and operated in Santa Clarita since 1996. They excel at relieving you of the pressures of moving. You can be assured your belongings are safe and will arrive at your new location, whether it's down the street or across the country. Discover the difference. AQMS, Affordable Quality Moving and Storage. Read the reviews online at aqmsnationalmoving.com. AQMS, Santa Clarita's favorite moving company.
Marla Ferris at Augusta Financial is the consummate mortgage professional, committed to helping you turn your dream of homeownership into reality. With more than 22 years in the finance mortgage industry, Marla brings extensive experience and top knowledge to help make your loan experience hassle-free. Given her honesty, integrity, and attention to detail, she is the loan officer you can trust. Marla knows what it takes to get you the best loan, the best rate, and the best service in the industry. You'll find Marla Ferris at Marla, FERRIS.com.
Let's talk about insurance. Are your rates skyrocketing year after year? Or do you feel like you would benefit from a professional advisor that works for you? Give the great team at Voy Insurance Solutions a call. Voy works with dozens of the best insurance companies to help you obtain competitive rates and comprehensive coverage. Homeowners, auto, business, and life insurance. Voy Insurance. Right price, right coverage, right now. Mention the Phil Nordella Show and get a free $10 Starbucks card. Visit voyinsurance.com. That's voinsurance.com.
With the safe disposal of waste from our homes in the Santa Clarita Valley, Chiquita Canyon Landfill is able to create enough green energy to power 10,000 homes each year. So you can feel good that the waste from your home in the SCV is helping create a clean energy source and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Chiquita Canyon Landfill is our partner in sustainable living.
Chiquita Canyon is helping lead the way to a greener future.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Real estate, it's that simple. I'm Rick Garcia, along with prodigious realtor Phil Nordella. And if you're new to the show, or maybe you've been listening for a little while, we want to just inform you that the commercial breaks are always better than the show.
Yes, exactly.
That's true of any show you've ever seen that is live. The name of the show again, Real Estate. It's that simple. You know, what we're trying to do is break down the world of real estate, make it as, soften it a little bit, kind of soften the edges, because it can be such a complicated industry. That's why you have a real estate agent, and thankfully you do. But it's a stressful time in people's lives, wouldn't you say, Phil? I mean, you've probably dealt with buyers and sellers, and it can cause a little friction, especially if you're dealing with a husband and wife in some situations where they don't always come to the same
you
place.
Know what?
They can't.
Absolutely. It can get crazy, and it's because you're talking about the largest thing that they sell in their lifetime, right? Usually, the most money that actually changes hands usually happens one, maybe two, maybe three times in their entire life. Therefore, because the money could be their retirement, could be just trying to grasp to stay afloat, it can be stressful, and a really good realtor can take a lot of that stress away, which is important.
There's a lot of confusion out there too. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, people are vying for your attention. One of those institutions, or a part of the institution, is something called iBuyers, and these instant offers and cash for your home and right away and piece of cake. Can you tell us about iBuyers?
Sure. Okay, so over the last, I would have to say 10, maybe even 15 years, there's a lot of companies out there that say, how can we disrupt the real estate business? Realtors make too much money. We've got to get in on that. If we cut it, we cut it down somehow, we can actually have them make more money, and we get some of it. Purple Bricks decided to come into town with $100 million, and then opened up in California, and brought another $100 million, opened up in New York, and another $100 million. They opened it up in Australia, and they fell flat on their face because they couldn't give the service that they actually said that they were going to give for less money. They just couldn't do it. And so that's the way it goes. However, there are companies out there that are still trying to disrupt, and believe it or not, there is a small market for it. And that's called instant offers, or iBuyers. So what is that? An instant offer just says, look, they try to paint a picture, right? The idea behind a successful campaign is you stress the pain, and then you solve that pain, right? You relieve that pain. And what they do is they say, okay, what is the pain of real estate? The pain of real estate is, you list a house, and you have to let them come in and take pictures, and you have to show the house. You've got to keep it clean and neat, and you pay thousands of dollars in commissions, and it's ridiculous to do that. And then, before it used to be open houses, which will come back, and you've got to, again, every morning you got to make your bed, and do you really want to do that? Or, right, so they identify the pain, or would you really rather just sell to us, okay? We will come in. We will give you top dollar for your home. Okay.
By the way, is that in quotes? Top dollar is in quotes, right?
Right. Now, the joke is top dollar is what their top dollar is. It's not what your top dollar is. It's not what appraised value top dollar is. It's what their top dollar is. And that's one of the first things you have to understand. It's like, okay, top dollar, and you say, well, I know, I've seen the comps here, and my house is worth $800,000. Their top dollar is $725,000. But it gets worse, right? Because you're like saying, okay, but they're going to give me top dollar, and you're not going to pay a commission, and they will close it within 7 days. And you're thinking, this is Shangri-La. In fact, you're thinking, with this out there, how the heck can realtors even be in business? So you compare them. And a realtor comes out. In fact, I've got the numbers right here. I'm going to go over them. The last one that I actually did, to where they compared me to a company, I won't mention their name. However, the numbers were interesting. I told her house was worth $730,000. Okay, terrific. 5% commission? Okay, fine. She called me up and she goes, you know what? There's a company out there that they're called an iBuyer company, and they said that they would actually give me top dollar, and I don't have to pay a commission. Phil, I don't know what to do, because I'd really like to list with you, but if they're going to do this and give me top dollar and not pay a commission, I go, look, if that's the situation, go with that. You have to. But let's get the numbers first, okay? So just to kind of go over it, I told her house is worth $730,000. I told her we can get $730,000 and a 5% commission. If you actually subtracted that, her net is $693,500. Remember that, $693,500. The iBuyer company came in and said, okay, our top dollar is $695. Okay, well, you know what? She netted $693 with us, so her $695 is a little bit more. That's good. But wait, there's more. They're no commission. However, they do have a convenience fee, okay? Their convenience fee, and it's convenient for them saying it's convenient because they don't actually then have to do open houses and you don't have to keep your house clean and neat and all of those things. So your convenience is going to cost you 7.5% on top of that, which is $52,000. Then, of course, they add another 2.5% resale risk fee. What the heck is that? That says if they buy the house and they have to hold it longer than they thought, they're going to charge you 2.5% on top of that, which is $17,000. Then they're going to do a physical inspection, and they're going to actually decide what they need to have done, and they're going to charge you to take care of that. Now, if you subtract that, because we don't know what that is, if you just subtract that, me selling their house, they netted $693,500, which is exactly what happened, and that's exactly what they netted. With them, without actually going over the repairs, she would have netted $626,000. That's the difference of $67,500. That's an awful convenient thing just to be able to say that you don't have to make your bed in the morning.
Top dollar.
And I find that very interesting. Now, as soon as coronavirus hit, right, all of these companies, you know what they did? They shut down. They said, okay, never mind, we're done. And they weren't done forever. They were just done, and it was really strictly because of the fact that they realized that if they bought properties during the coronavirus, they don't know when they could sell them because they were thinking, we don't know how this is going to hit. We could keep this for a year. We could keep these properties for 2 years. Now, the other thing that's a problem with some of these iBuyers is if you sell with a realtor, the money stays in your town. If you sell to an iBuyer, everything goes and gets shipped out. Okay? Now, I'm not completely putting down iBuyers or instant offers because
in some cases
for it.
Yeah, in some cases it might work for you if you're a seller who's really anxious. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Let's say you're elderly and you've got a house that's almost falling down. You don't know what to do. You really need to get out quickly. You might be sick. I always use the joke, you might be in witness protection. You got to get the heck out of town quick. But you need the money quickly. And sometimes it makes it okay to take that type of hit. Other than that, it's tough, you know. So anyway, that's my rant on iBuyers and instant offers.
Yeah, and we'll always have an opportunity to talk about that in the future. Listen, coming up next segment, we're going to get into definitions. I mean, there are a lot of things that come up during a transaction that you say, "Oh, I've heard that before," but what does it mean? And we're going to talk about that next. It's real estate. It's that simple.
If you're thinking of selling your home, have Phil Nordella come out and give you a free, no obligation property valuation. Just call 661-312-3561. It's that simple.
At iLead Agua Dulce, we believe the most important thing a child can learn in school is who they are. Life's real tests are never standardized, which is why we've developed an individual-based curriculum that values exploration, cooperation, and creativity. As our learners grow, so do we. Our tuition-free charter school is currently enrolling grades TK through 7th and adding 8th grade in 2020. Your young learner will be immersed in a unique environment where possibility and self-discovery are at the core of every experience. The Agua Dulce campus features beautiful indoor and outdoor spaces for hands-on inspiration, including a robotics lab, a garden bed, a greenhouse, and a technology-based exploratorium. iLead Agua Dulce is conveniently located on the east side of the Santa Clarita Valley, just off the 14 freeway. Check out our homeschool options too. To schedule a campus tour or learn more about our programs, visit iLeadAguaDulce.org. We're enrolling now. iLead Schools. Free to think, inspired to lead.
Mold contamination is a growing concern for all of us, especially in our homes. Golden State Mold Inspections is Santa Clarita's leading mold inspectors. Be sure to protect yourself and your family with a professional mold inspector. Golden State Mold Inspections can identify mold problems and future mold challenges. Call the mold professionals. Golden State Mold Inspections. Visit their website for details. GoldenStateMoldInspections.com. That's GoldenStateMoldInspections.com.
Castle Inspection is the top choice for home inspection in Santa Clarita. With over 20 years experience, make Castle Inspection your choice when buying your new condominium or home. From mobile homes to mansions, the outhouse to the penthouse, your best bet is Annette from Castle Inspection. An inspection is a fair and objective evaluation of the home's physical and mechanical systems. Expert knowledge, thorough research, and clear communication are what sets Annette at Castle above the rest. Schedule your appointment online now at castleinspection.com.
My name is Frank. I'm the proud owner and operator of Braveheart Termite and Pest Control. I've been doing this for over 25 years. Call me for your termite needs and concerns. If you're in real estate and need a quality home inspection, call me today. You'll have those reports same day or within 24 hours. I will help you solve your issue with what needs to be done and nothing extra. Call me so you can have freedom from termites. 661-373-2617. That's 373-2617.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
Marston's Restaurant has been a Pasadena landmark, voted the best breakfast in California by the Food Network magazine. Discover Marston's Santa Clarita location, open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Marston's also has a fantastic catering menu that adds a delicious twist to any event. And they cater picnic dinners for that memorable romantic date. Experience Marston's on Newhall Ranch Road and McBean, or log on to marstonsrestaurant.com.
Donahoe and Young is your award-winning go-to law firm for all real estate matters, including the changing legal landscape due to COVID-19. In addition, Donahoe and Young can help you create an estate plan that accomplishes your wishes, protects you and your family, and avoids time-consuming and expensive California probate. If you've been financially devastated by the pandemic, Donahoe and Young can help you with debt negotiation and, whenever needed, bankruptcy under Chapter 7, 11, and 13. Visit Taylor Williams at DonahoeYoung.com.
If you're looking for an SCV-based home design firm you can trust, look no further. Style My Space is a recognized leader in luxury vacant home staging and interior design projects for all of northern Los Angeles County since 2006. Their 5-star reputation for beautiful staging installations helps sellers realize up to 10% higher offers in as little as 1/3 the time as non-staged homes. Get an instant quote on our website at stylemyspace.com. That's stylemyspace.com.
I love it.
Right on! Your hometown station.
Welcome back to Real Estate. It's that simple. I'm Rick Garcia, along with Phil Nordella.
Hello.
Phil, let's do some. You have a property you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, you know what? I've got a new one coming out. We're going to be actually live, active on Monday. If anybody's out there looking for 6 bedrooms, 5 baths, 6 bedroom, 5 baths, you know what? There's a small group of people that are going, you know what? We need 6 bedrooms. It's a gorgeous house. I sold it to them a while ago. Now they're actually moving down. They don't really need 6 bedrooms. It's 6 plus 5. It's 3,720 square feet. It's in Saugus. It's up Plum Canyon. It's a gorgeous house, and we've got it listed for $829, which is a really terrific price. There's another one up there that's actually 500 square feet less for the same exact price. So if you're interested, again, it's active Monday. If you want to get in earlier, which I'm showing it to a couple people this weekend, get in early. Just let me know at 661-312-3561.
You got me mid-breath.
Uh-huh.
All All right, let's talk about definitions. Listen, I know people aren't going to real estate school here, but if you are a realtor who's maybe thought about, maybe you need a little change, you want to be part of a different kind of a team, and maybe you want to be part of Phil Nordella's team, or maybe you're a buyer or seller and you're just trying to understand more about what goes on into a real estate deal. Let's talk about preliminary title report. Preliminary title report.
Right. Okay. So we know, in fact, when we buy a house, we need a title report, no matter what. You pay for it, and you want to make sure that when you spend $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 on a house, that at the very end somebody's not going to knock on your door and say, "I'm sorry, I own this." And you're like, "What? Oh no, hang on a second, I paid a lot of money." So a preliminary title report is the actual quickie report that they're going to give you as soon as you open escrow. And basically, it's a report prepared prior to issuing a policy of title insurance. And so you have to make sure that you've got, if there are any problems with the title report, it's going to tell you then and there. Therefore, you have the opportunity and the wherewithal to be able to clean up the title. Okay, so you might have a mechanic's lien, which is probably the number one thing that you actually find. Somebody will actually put something on. Maybe it could be solar. Right? They'll put a mechanic's lien. If they're going to do a new kitchen or something, they will put a mechanic's lien on your house, and they won't take it off until they're paid. And it's just a protection saying, look, okay, if you decide that you don't want to pay me, you're going to pay me before you sell the house, or you're not going to be able to sell the house, because any sort of encumbrance that's actually on the title report has to be cleaned off. So that's a mechanic's lien. That's one. Notice of action or a lis pendens. It may be a pending lawsuit. And so that's important when it comes to making sure that you actually clear that off. It could be a bankruptcy. Okay. If for some reason the seller is in bankruptcy, then that has to be cleared, and these are things that the title company could actually work on it for you. It could be an uninsured deed, okay, and that means something that obviously was put on there for you before wasn't completely cleaned off prior to. That has to be cleaned up. And here's another one that's really interesting, because people sometimes will buy a piece of land, and there's no ingress or egress to the property, and therefore you have to have some kind of legal access. But if you actually buy a property that's landlocked, in other words, it's got 4 properties around it, and there's no way to get to it unless you actually clear off unless you actually have some kind of an agreement with one of the other landlords or landowners to be able to cross their property, you'll never be able to actually get to your property. So these are things that are important, and that's what a preliminary title report will do. They'll actually show you all of those things, and then our job is to work on getting it taken care of.
And it's interesting because there, as you were, I think, pointing out, very often people are caught off guard. They don't realize that there are things attached to their title. It could be a long ways back, or like you said, it could be a recent vendor who maybe didn't get paid. I've seen situations where maybe the vendor wasn't the main person, maybe the person who did your landscape, but apparently they didn't pay one of their, the materials guy or something. So it's interesting who can attach a lien on your property.
Title reports are very important, and to get an actual clean title policy, that's really important. And whenever I get anybody in escrow, I always say, look, I'm going to give you a guarded congratulations. We're in escrow. But here's the situation. We've got some speed bumps that we've got to go over. We've got to go over the preliminary title report. We've got to go over the physical inspection. And as soon as we get over those and get your loan taken care of, you know what, we're good to go.
Okay, how do people get in touch with you if they want to either buy, sell, or maybe a realtor might have a few questions on how they can further their career?
Absolutely. Anybody that wants any information, just give me a call. I'm at 661-312-3561, or go to philnordella.com.
Phil Nordella, the show is Real Estate It's That Simple. I'm Rick Garcia. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday at 10 a.m.
Awesome.
See you, Phil.